Hi Year 4, welcome to lesson 10. We are learning to experiment today, and so the first thing you need to do is find some very thin paper. If you're in school, your pod leader will provide it, or if you're at home, use paper from the printer. You also need some crayons, or you can use the side of a pencil lead. So hopefully your pod leader is going to take you outside today if the weather allows, and you need to collect a range of objects. They could be leaves, it could be bark, it could be stones, but it has to be anything with a texture. So you see this leaf here, I'm going to use the underside of the leaf where you can see the veins. I put it onto my table with the veins facing up to the ceiling, and then I'm using my finger to hold down the stem to keep it nice and secure, and then I use the side of a crayon to pick up the texture, and this technique is called frottage, or it's also known as rubbing. It would be a really good idea to test out your technique maybe 3 or 4 times on the same piece of paper, just until you feel really comfortable. And what's really important is the leaf does not move whilst you're creating the frottage. So this time you'll see that I have 2 fingers in place, and this is trickier, but some of you might find that you are able to do this, and this allows you to hold the leaf really still. Common mistakes are using the tip of the crayon rather than the side. Make sure you always use the side of the crayon or the side of the pencil lead rather than the tip. And another common problem is moving the piece of paper around, moving the leaf around, and just not working in a very controlled manner, and getting quite a messy frottage that looks a little bit like this. What we're really aiming for is to get a perfect frottage as best we can of the leaf, and you'll see that my first attempt was a much better attempt because I kept that leaf nice and still. So once you feel comfortable frottaging a leaf, get outside and see if you can frottage onto some textured objects. So you'll see here I found a lovely tree which has some really beautiful bark on it, and I've held my piece of paper at the top with my left hand and I'm just running that crayon down, and I got these beautiful textures. So this one here is a frottage of a tree. The blue section at the top is grass, and then a couple of different leaf shapes. Lovely to get a variety of leaves, and leaves with cracks or holes in them look really beautiful too. So I'm just going to demonstrate how I created these pieces here. Try not to look for perfection. You'll see I've got a very old leaf there that's falling apart, and that might create something really beautiful. So try and choose a real range of things. And leaves of all different shapes and sizes. Brick walls work well too. And stone floors work really well as well. And if your page rips, it does not matter. We're on to the second part of the lesson now. You might want to hit pause, get outside and watch this if you have time when you get back in. So I've sketched the shape of a trunk onto my frottage experiment of a tree, and now I'm just cutting it out. And now I'm going to build detail and texture using my other frottage of a tree. And now I've been through my frottage experiments and I've selected ones that give the idea of a bushy canopy of a tree. So I think this brickwork frottage works really well. I'm just using another brickwork experiment here for another section of my tree's canopy. So the majority of my tree is now stuck down, and now I'm going to collage, which means stick down pieces of paper onto a backing, some small pieces of greenery, just so it looks like the light is catching the leaves on the tree. So my tree collage is complete, and now I'm going to just cut out any leaf experiments, that I have made, and I'm going to stick them down onto the opposite page. If you run out of room, just flip to the back of your book and you've got plenty of spare pages. Now I imagine you guys are probably missing some equipment, so if you struggle and you don't have scissors or you don't have any Pritt stick, then what you could do if you have a little bit more time is just do some sketching of your chosen leaves in the back of your book. Remember, you've got to use light, sketchy lines and just map out the shape to begin with, and then once you've mapped out the shape, you can then start adding in the detail like I'm demonstrating now. That's it, Year 4. I hope you've had fun and I will see you next week.